The unique clip is Brendan Schaub and Chin argument over continuing the podcast with Bryan Callen. Fucking hell, what a weird thing to discuss on the fucking Patreon.
Hunter Arrow says this: I'm an OG TFATK listener, so I have to be honest. I can tell you and Bryan both do not like doing the podcast anymore. Both of you look generally miserable sitting through the podcast for the last couple of years, but definitely since moving to Austin.
That's on point. That's a very accurate observation. A very accurate observation. I don't even think Brendan can deny that. They definitely look miserable. If not even they look miserable. Miserable is probably the wrong thing to even concentrate on. The problem they have is that they look like they're going through the motions. You know? Before you got the feeling like even if they were miserable, they kind of were looking, especially in the beginning. At least other episodes of TFATK in LA that were still shit. Because I remember I've been doing this for a long time, unfortunately, right? I remember when I used to take clips of the show, you could notice the mood drop and the energy levels dip after half an hour. So they'd get onto the show and they'd clearly be excited to see each other. Maybe they don't text each other or call each other that much, but they catch up in person. So you got the feeling like in the first half an hour, they were really energized to see each other, update each other on each other's lives, But as soon as the half an hour went by, the mood dropped. Nowadays in Austin, they start the show recording and Brendan's already slouched, body language, everything. Brendan's already slouched with his feet on the table. They're already in a dour mood from the beginning, from the moment they record. So less so about them hating. I think it's the fact that they both look really bored is the really concerning thing, and they don't even start with good energy. That's a really concerning part.
Bryan's too mad at the world and serious now. He's not a philosopher. Brendan, he's obviously is not going to get his light back. So my question to you is, why do you still do it? And does he get annoyed listening to Bryan complain about ticket sales, but does things like have Andrew Wilson on his podcast talk about Christianity? In all honesty, as a lifelong fan.
Wow. Brilliant obliteration, but good, honest feedback. Bryan complaining about ticket sales, but then he has Andrew Wilson on his podcast talking about Christianity. Exactly. Or Bryan complaining about ticket sales, but then if you go on Bryan Callen's Instagram now, you probably can't find, right? Who's this? Why is the chat not coming up on here, by the way? Hold on, 1 second. Why is the chat not coming up on the screen? Bear me a second here. I don't know why the chat's not coming up on the screen. I think I fucked this. Apologies for the interruption here. But I did. Where's Botrix? There's Botrix, right? Didn't I just put this on there? Or did I mess it up? Oh no, I didn't mess up this. I didn't. Cool. Let's do this. Yeah, big up nonchalant charlatan. Big up nonchalant charlatan. Big up nonchalant charlatan. I apologize. I didn't put this thing on here. Let me see if I can put this chat on here. I don't know why the thingy chat's not working on the screen. Don't know why. Hopefully it works. Hopefully that works. But anyway, big up nonchalant charlatan. Any versus in screenshot. Let me actually see if this works. I'm gonna write in the chat myself. Does that work? Am I coming up or not? Let's see. Am I coming up? No, I'm not coming up. Not too sure what's going on there, but for some reason it's not working. Doesn't matter. Let's continue. Yeah, I was saying, if you go on Bryan Callen's Instagram now, I bet you can't find more than 5 clips of his stand-up comedy special on his profile. I bet you cannot find more than 5 clips from Bryan Callen's stand-up comedy special. You can't find them. They're not on his fucking thing. I find that so bizarre. You do your own special, but you don't put more than 5 clips on your own Instagram. So he's out here complaining about lack of ticket sales. He wants to be doing he wants to be doing fucking theaters, not arenas, of course. He wants to be doing theaters. He wants to be selling more tickets. He wants to go on bigger tours, but he doesn't do the bare minimum of like promoting himself on social media. Then on his own podcast, he has fucking discussions about the Bible, and it's like, bro, that ain't gonna help you move tickets, That really ain't gonna help you move tickets. So Bryan doesn't help himself for sure.
Take a break for a while.
Accurate. Yeah, it's a lot of home truths there. Wow. First time he got gagged, innit? You know what's interesting? I wonder if the reason why this really kind of resonated with him is because he's been thinking about himself. I wonder if that question really resonated with him because he's actually been thinking about that thing himself. But shit, this really caught him off, innit? He's really fucking concentrating on this something.
And this Adam says, on the show they're chatting like brothers they are. I don't think they care much for views. They just do it because they love it, and we all who love them and support them along the time should appreciate it. Advice, if you don't like it anymore, don't watch it. Simple. That's him saying it.
I don't think that's, again, I don't know why they always do this. They always say this sort of thing. They obviously don't do it because they love it. They do it because it pays. I would assume, again, not to be a pocket watcher, but I would assume TFATK is what pays Brendan and Bryan the most money monthly. They probably get the most money monthly from TFATK each. I don't think there's a single thing they each do that pays them more than TFATK. That's why they don't want to quit it. So that's okay, no problem. I understand why you're doing it for money, but you've got to shake it up a little bit. You've got to insert some fun. You've got to get the energy. But you got to do something because yes, it pays well, but it's a slog to get through. You know, for me in clips, it's a slog. I can't imagine how bad it is for the fans who are actually trying to have a good time. You know, so yeah, this is a good question. It's probably like Ryu said, it's probably bait. It's probably from a troll. Don't get me wrong, but it's still a question that you can tell Brendan's been mulling over himself. He's been thinking about himself. It's not something that has caught him off guard. You know, it's maybe caught him off guard reading it, but he's been thinking about himself.
Go back to the question. I can tell you and Bryan don't like doing the podcast anymore. Generally miserable sitting through it. Bryan's too mad at the world. He's serious now, not philosopher. He's not going to get his light back. God, Hunter, this is a loaded one, Bubba. How do I answer this? How would you answer this, Jen? Before I get into it, How would you answer it?
Yeah. I think there's some nuggets here.
There's some truth to it.
There's some nuggets here.
Yeah, I think that's why it's hard for me to answer.
But it's bullshit saying like, oh, you guys are miserable doing the podcast. This is something that we always enjoy doing. It's just,
why is Chin so incapable? Why is Chin so literal? Why doesn't Chin understand nuance or just what the, like? I don't think the guy is saying that they turn up to the show and they're like crying, or they wake up in the morning and they're depressed that they're going to go TFATK. But it doesn't look like they're having fun. That's it, Chin, okay? If Chin is going to argue that, oh, you're not actually miserable, okay, cool. Well, do they look like they're having fun? You know? Does Chin look like he's having fun, for goodness sake? Chin is in a much better mood on after hours. Chin looks like he's in a much better mood when he's on after hours with his boys. He doesn't look like he's having the greatest time on TFATK either. So he is arguing, yeah, actually, this is bullshit. Brother, don't be so literal. Don't be so fucking... Come on. Don't be so literal in this situation. You know what he's trying to say. God damn it, Chin.
it's like sometimes we're all going through some shit.
I disagree, Chin. I think there's some truth to that, too.
No, but miserable every single time you're sitting here.
No, I don't think he's saying every time.
No, what I'm saying is like,
There. To be fair to this Hunter kid, there's days I come in here, I'm like,
yeah, by the way, that's life. I mean, there's days I come in here, I feel like shit, you know, like, and people can probably...
That's what he's saying, you idiot. That's what he's saying. He's saying it feels like sometimes when you guys come onto the show, you don't look like you're really having fun, which is aka miserable. It doesn't mean every single day. It doesn't mean that you're crying on the way to the fucking studio. It just means it doesn't look like you're having fun. So Chin basically agreeing with the point. Of course he is.
Probably tell. You can tell. Like I'll smile and stuff, and you'll come or you'll text me later like, "Hey, is everything all good, dude?"
yeah.
So we have our shit going on in our lives. Like you can't be fucking every single day. It's.
I get why Chin is saying this, because it's within Chin's best interest, right? It's within Chin's best interest that these guys remain positive. Chin needs these guys to remain positive. He needs these guys to have a good outlook or to feel good about the show, because if they don't and they end it, he's going to be out of a job. So I kind of understand why he's like purposely missing the point, you know, completely missing the genesis of what the question was kind of trying to allude and get at, because it's within his best interest that the show doesn't stop. You know, if it stops, he's fucked, basically. But come on, Chin, man, come on. No one's asking him to be rah rah rah. It's just that, could you maybe have the show be better atmosphere, mood than what it usually is? And maybe Chin as well. Maybe part of the reason why he's acting like this is because he's like partly responsible, because he's technically a producer, right? So maybe the quality of the show or the lack thereof kind of falls on him too, because he produces it with the, what do you call it? With the fucking news shit at the end of the show and stuff. Maybe that's why he's being so defensive.
It's tough. And right now is like one of the, tougher moments, because, we're transitioning to this new thing. And like, of course we have to worry about sponsorship and all this stuff. So that's...
Oh, worried about a sponsorship and all that stuff. So the podcast one deal is gone, in it for real. That's confirmation. Worried about sponsorship and stuff. We changed to this new model. So the podcast one deal is gone. Ah, that explains a lot, innit? Actually, I didn't check. Let me check their fighting the kid. Did I check that in the comments? Hold on, let me check that. Bear with me a second. Where's the latest fighting the kid episode? Is it here? No, I don't have it. Alright, cool. Let me get the latest fighting the kid. Let's go to the fighter and the kid. Because usually they have it in the in the descriptions, right? All the sponsors. Let's see who's sponsoring them here. So it's not, yeah, there's no podcast one description. It says, yeah, so they've still got some decent episodes. So they've still got decent sponsors. They've got 1, 2, 3, all 3. True Work, Progressive, and O'Reilly Parts. That's it. And usually it's 6, isn't it? Let's go on another episode. Usually I think it's like 6. Let's go on a random old episode. So they've got only 3 there, right? So if I go down, let's go on one random episode. Let's go here. No, let's go longer. Let's go 6 months ago. Let's go this one here. Yes, we did. Episode number 1000. Let's see how many sponsors were here. Do they have it? Oh, they don't have the sponsors on here. Oh no, they do. There you go. Yeah, see, look at the difference. Magic Mind, True Classic was there. Okay. Let's go to another one. Scroll down. Maybe let's go back to the LA one. Let's go to where's the LA studio? That's still Texas. That's LA right there. Let's go to this one. 1080. Yeah, Progressive, DraftKings, Progressive, Simple Safe, TikTok, True Work, Joy Mode, Magic Mind. Fucking hell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sponsors. Back in the LA times, right? Let's scroll back more. Let's scroll back a little bit more in LA. Let's scroll back a little bit more. Let's do this. 968. Episode number 968. Let's see the sponsors here. Let's go down the thing. O'Reilly Auto Parts, 5 CBD, Progressive, True Classics. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But yeah, okay. So yeah, you're right. The fucking ads are gone. Let's go to the Schultz episode. 96. Is the Schultz here? Yes, 960. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck. So yeah, podcast one deal is gone. The podcast one deal is actually gone. Damn. They are fucked. Remember I said it, I forgot. If I'm not mistaken, the podcast one deal was really sweet for these guys because A, they paid him up front, if I'm not mistaken. They had a really weird business model, Podcast One, where to get podcasters signed on their network, they would pay them ahead. They would pay them in advance, so that you get basically a lump sum to kind of like a signing on bonus. And obviously they were used to getting that bonus. And obviously Brendan got $1 million from them as well in the past. So yeah, Podcast One leaving is a big deal. Podcast One leaving is a big deal. Not re-signing them. That's going to really hurt them financially. That might also explain why that might maybe explain why he's selling the house. Because they'll probably be making a lot of money through Podcast One securing the ads and paying them a percentage of the ads. Now they have to go and basically find their own sponsors, which is probably way harder.
Shit's heavy, you know?
And they'll have to justify the numbers. Some sponsors may want more details back end, you know? They may not, some sponsors may be a bit more privy to like the fake views. Podcast One sort of like turned a blind eye to all that shit, so it's going to be difficult.
That's my point of view on that. But it's like to say it's like, why oh fuck, I gotta go into work. Oh fuck this shit. It's not like that.
But it is like that. Brendan clearly is showing body language signs that it is like that. That's why he took so long to answer the question. That's why that question kind of stopped him in his tracks. Usually he's not somebody that's very reflective. He's usually somebody that's very impulsive, says what is the first thing that comes to his mind. That question really gave him pause. I think it gave him pause because it was kind of like echoing his internal dialogue. And Chin's like, no, that's not true. That's not true. Chin, open your eyes, bro. Open your eyes. For fuck's sake, open your eyes. Do you think these guys are having fun?
I think there's some truth is what he's saying.
Yeah,
I
think the same.
Yeah, I think there's some truth. I don't know what to do, Bubba. I don't know what to do. Fighter and the Kid, and I've explained this to Chin and Brian, we hit singles every week. We hit singles. Back in the day, we hit triples and home runs. Now we're hitting singles. And I'm okay with that. And I love doing the show. And I'm loyal to a default.
Loyal to a default. Honestly, how can English be your first language? You just have no idea how to speak it and you fuck up all the common, easy, well-known sayings. Loyal to a default. Isn't it loyal to a fault? What, loyal to a default? Or maybe he's mixing up two sayings. Maybe he's trying to say my default settings just to be loyal. Maybe that's what he's trying to say. Maybe he's mixing two sayings at once. My default setting is always loyalty. Loyal to a default is insane.
As far as Brian's light, I don't know what it is. Obviously we know the shit that he's been through. But I think when the show started, me and Brian were different people. So when people go, "Oh, you've changed," absolutely, man, absolutely. I'm not out at night. I'm not in the comedy scene. I'm not booking guests and doing that stuff anymore. And that was my job for.
If they said they changed, right? Could you say maybe Brendan changed for the worst and he may be negative to the show? There's not a lot that there's a lot of blame being put towards Brian being a little bit of a negative Nancy, right? And the light going away from Brian because of the rape allegations and him not being himself again, and maybe feeling that people look at him and always think of him as a rapist or whatever else it may be, right? But Brendan doesn't take any responsibility too for what he done. He kind of fucked Brian in a way. Being so unlikable, right? Having the career that he had where he basically jumped the queue in his comedy career, right? He jumped the queue in his comedy career. He got given a special when he shouldn't have ever had one. He agreed to take it when his friends, Bryan Callen and Joe Rogan, told him not to take the Showtime deal. He thought they were jealous of him, so he took it anyway. Ended up being one of the biggest blessings and probably one of the biggest curses in a way in his life. I think the Showtime deal definitely helped him financially and career-wise in a way that probably nothing else would. But it also fucked him permanently because, you know, it was one of the worst specials ever. And it kind of proved everyone's point that you probably shouldn't be given the specials 3 years in. And it kind of, he could never ever get over that kind of thing. And then Gringo Pappy ended up being even worse than that. But his behavior and his attitude in comedy really fucked everything, to be fair. That was a real Achilles blow. Yes, Bryan Callen's allegations weren't the greatest, but I think Brendan just not getting on with people, the falling outs with Bobby Lee, all this drama, the Theo stuff that's like not really spoken about, but there's clearly something there with them as well. Like all the little fucking things, the Annie Lederman stuff, the Kalila stuff, like that really fucked up Bryan more so than anything, and the flow of the show, because now you can't get guests because you're involved in these beefs and these issues. People are picking sides, and everyone that Brendan's beefed with, they're way more liked than he is, or they're way more liked than Bryan is. So it's like you back yourself up into a corner, and no one's gonna stand by you. So yes, Bryan's light has disappeared, but there's a lack of acknowledgement and acceptance on Brendan's side for how much damage he's done to the show and to the brand because of his journey, his personality, the things that have happened along the way that have made people think, you know what, we're cool on them. And plus as well, you have to take a personal responsibility, you know. Sometimes, regardless of if you did anything wrong or not, you're doing a show with a person that was accused of rape. You're also doing another show with a person that was accused of being a PDF. Like, what did you expect? You know what I mean? Like, what did you expect? Like, come on, let's be for real.
10 years on the show. If you ever saw a guest, it's because I booked it. It was through me. Brian does.
That's not fair. There were some guests that Bryan also booked. That's not fair. Yes, maybe Brendan booked the majority, but there were some guests that Brendan also booked. I'm sorry, that Bryan booked.
And it's not. There's no. Not mad at him. And when Brian's at the Comedy Mothership, the last thing on his mind is booking a guest for The Fighter and the Kid. He doesn't even think of it, and he never has.
I think he also knows if he asks, they won't say yes. That's not fair. You can't expect Bryan to be approaching people at the Comedy Mothership to appear on TFATK. He knows they won't go. He knows. I think Brendan also knows. That's probably why he's not even trying to ask. None of those guys that they would want to be on TFATK are gonna come. I was even surprised when fucking Bert Kreischer was on, right? I think Bert Kreischer might be one of the last of the comedy crew people, right? Can you think of anything else? Since the whole Bobby Lee shit went down, since the whole Andy Lederman thing went down, since the whole Kalila thing went down, I think Bert Kreischer might be the last comedian within the 250, within Rogan's 250 that's ever appeared on TFATK. I think so. I've not got my law right, but I think even if I browse the list, I think Bert Kreischer might be the last one, you know. Honestly, I think Bert Kreischer might be the last one. Let me scroll here. I think if I'm just going to take a cursory look here, I think Bert Kreischer might be the last guest that they got for the 250. Comedian, anyway, a comedian. I wouldn't count Felipe Esparza. He's not in the 250. Who else is on here? Yeah, I think Bert Kreischer might be the last one. And that was a while back. That was when Brendan was still fat. That's when they had a kind of circus sort of like themed set. So it's been a hot minute. I wouldn't say Godfrey's not in the 250. I don't count him as being one of Rogan's guys. Those are all throwback episodes. Yeah. The last comedian they've had on from that group. Oh, Jeff Dye. Yeah, Jeff Dye. But he's a recent guy. He's recent. He's like a new guy. Of the old guys. Yeah, Jeff Dye's here. But Jeff Dye's he's a recent dude. He's not one of the OGs. Shit. Yeah, none of the okay, maybe Sam Tripoli. Maybe Sam Tripoli. Maybe if you're on a stretch you say Sam, but not a lot of people. No Schultz, no Santino.
Do you have a gun?
Yo, big up Ricky Picture.
Big up Saz, I'm on my way up to Seattle to see Ski Mask tomorrow.
66666. Yeah, I might see him in big up Ski Mask. Big up Ricky Picture. I might see him. He's playing in Berlin. I think I might see him in Berlin actually. Let's see. Is it Berlin? Big up Ricky Picture. I saw a listing recently. I think I might see him in Berlin. Where is it? Yeah, so you're going here, yeah? So yeah, you're going to this one. Routine 5-year anniversary. Ski Mask. Someone could load this. Mac Watts. Kush Jones is good. I like Kush Jones. Priori, Sugar, Overland, Austin R, No Recall, Hunter, and someone called X1AO3. Nice. Fucking hell, long day, innit? 2 p.m. to 3 a.m. Fucking hell. That's worth the money, innit? Jesus Christ. Nice. Yeah, I think I want to see him in Berlin. There's a Berlin date happening. Oh, is that Fold? On the 4th of April with Maron. Save that. God damn. Okay, cool. So he's in London soon. I'll definitely go to that one. Where is he? There's a Berlin one here somewhere. I think I saw someone posted it actually. Wait, no, I think someone posted it. That's it. I think it might be on the Berghain community subreddit. Someone posted it. Yeah, there it is. This one. Yeah, Ski Mask is playing in Berghain for the Reef 10-year anniversary on the 17th of April. And it's what? Ski Mask, Carrier, Mary Lou, Esposito, Caliber, RP Boo, Siete, what's that? Siete Catorce, Danger Man, and Darwin. Nice. But yeah. Have fun, brother. Have fun, Ricky Pitcher. Hope you have a blast, bro. Hope you have a blast. Cool, let's get back to the video.
And I think with what Bryan went through, he obviously views life through a different lens. And just the dynamics of the show is different. It's different. Straight up, it's different. As far as miserable, no. If I was miserable, trust me, I don't have to do this show. I
Exit out. Big exit out. I don't know why they do this. I don't know why they lie and act like the show is not monetarily important. I don't know why they do this. No one believes you. You don't have to do the show. Where is he going to make? In what other avenue would he make the money that he makes on TFATK? Unless there's some behind the scenes investment we don't know about. Come on, bro. Come on. Let's be for real. TFATK makes good money still. For sure. I don't doubt it. They probably get at least, the way I understand views, they probably get at least 20 grand a month from views. Maybe 10 to 20 grand a month from YouTube, right? From AdSense. Not including what they might get from ads. So it's probably, all in all, the TFATK probably makes about 20 to 30k a month. Still. You know? Yeah, I know they're splitting it between 3 people. It's not a lot left, but still, it's 20, 30k that you're not going to make any other way. Do you know what I mean? And all you've got to do is just sit in front of a fucking camera 2 times a week, you know? But yeah, I doubt that there's, I got other things. I don't need to be here. I do this because I love it. It's like, okay, whatever. Sure, bro. Well, if you love it so much, show it, innit?
have other means. Not miserable. Some days it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Some days it's very tough. I'll give you that, Bubba.
That's why I'm really curious as to why people like this don't just stop. I said it before about Bryan Callen. People always kind of get at me about it, but I like, surely being a stand-up comedian in your 60s shouldn't be your dream. You should work hard and do as much as you can when you're like able-bodied and stuff. But then the older you get, you should maybe be pulling back a little bit and spending more time at home with your family, because you're not got long left. You know, you're kind of hitting the home stretch of your life. You don't want to be spending all of it on the road in like shitty motels, really. You got kids, and especially Bryan, he's got like young kids. He's got 2 kids now with his new wife that are probably under the age of like 5 or 6. Don't you want to be there? Like, I don't know. It's like, you still want to be a road dog at 60. It just feels a bit odd. And then the podcasting, if you're not going to quit, maybe reinvent, you know? Maybe there should be a little bit of a reinvention of the show. That's what maybe some sort of reinvention. Maybe one episode, Bryan has a guest that he likes, they talk. Maybe one episode, Brendan has a guest that he wants on, they talk. You know, maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know. But they need to do something. They need to do something to shake it up, or just end it. But it's probably making too much money and they don't have other ways to get money, so they're not going to end it. But I really do believe in the idea of ending things when they're going good, you know, instead of like riding it all the way into the ground, because then it becomes very hard to step away.
Some days it's tough. And I think Brian and Chin, I've told them this, you have to be okay with hitting singles. The days of triples and home runs, those days are gone. They will never come back. And that's okay.
They could come back, but it requires a lot of effort. I wouldn't say it's never. It's not a never. It's not a never complete write-off, because I think that's also that's a sign of laziness and not willingness to try. It could come back, but it would require effort. It would require introspection. It would require brutal honesty of inventory of the show. Actually, the whole team, him, Brian, and Chin, watching episodes back, talking about what they liked, what they didn't like, and being honest about people's performances, and then trying to, write down things that could improve it, implement it for the next show, think of different show ideas and formats, all that shit. You know what I mean? You have to be really thinking or putting effort in. I don't think these guys have that, ability to do so. I just don't think so. Or that they're not bothered to do so, they don't have the ability. But that's the only way to go forward. That's the only way.
We're not a guest-driven show these days. Back in the day, we had a lot of guests. Even when we didn't have guests, the show would do well. Those days are done for a variety of reasons.
Mostly because the show's not fun. You're not trying to be funny. And partly because Brendan's reputation is horrendous, and so is Brian's. And they've never really publicly addressed it or tried to make amends. That's the issue. If there was a public making of amends with Bobby Lee, a public making of amends with Kalila, Annie Liederman, it'd be different story, I think. But they're kind of excommunicated from comedy, really. Brendan is, at least anyway. So much so he had to quit. And Brian just trying to hang on, basically, trying to survive as best as he can. But yeah, I think without addressing those big elephants in the room and trying to put some level of, I don't know, trying to address it and move, I don't know, get to a place of forgiveness, something, it's not going to move on. It's not surprised that it's falling off, But hey, they're not ever going to acknowledge that.
But if we were to stop today, we've had a great fucking run.
Mm-hmm. Good to say.
And we've been doing it, 13 years now. Think of your favorite show going on for 13 years. It's tough, dude.
Good point.
It's fucking tough. So my whole, to wrap all this up, if we decide to stop doing it today, I'm so proud of what we've done.
Good.
We're one of the originators. We're OGs. We made a ton of fucking money.
Good.
We've inspired and had fun and made a lot of people laugh.
That's a good attitude.
Been with us on our highs and our lows, and it's all good.
Good attitude.
And by every stretch of imagination, this show's a major success. We did it, dude. Mm-hmm. We did some great things. I don't know what the future holds. I do not know, and that's okay.
That's the problem, though, isn't it, though? I don't think he's even trying to know. He's not even trying to figure it out. Like, when's the last time they had a meeting? When's the last time they had, a meeting, all three, sitting down and discussing what they want to do going forward? Because didn't they say they were going to do some big changes for the show in Austin? It's going to be completely different. It's just the same thing. When they were in LA and before they moved, they were acting as if this show would be completely different. Be a different approach, different. It just turned into the same thing. If the only thing's different is that they see it on opposite sides, right? I think that's the only difference. No, I think it's the only difference. I think before Brendan was sitting on the left and Brian was sitting on the right. Now they switch sides. That's the only difference, really.
I think the conversation for Brian would be, why are you still doing it? And if it's just for money, then we should have a talk.
That's not fair. That's not fair. I don't think that's fair, because Brendan's also only doing it for money. That's not fair at all. Suddenly Brendan's doing 3 Schaub shows in a week. He's not doing it because he loves the UFC so much. He's doing it because he's got, lawsuits coming out of his ass and he's trying to make some extra money. He's doing the smart thing, what a man should do. Right? He's trying to look after his family. But don't try and act like you're doing 3 fucking MMA shows because you love the sport so much. You're doing it because you want to put yourself out there, get yourself in the algo, maybe go viral again, standard fucking issue. But that's a problem. I think with TFATK, for whatever reason, they're not willing to brainstorm ideas, think about things that could work, and then try to implement them. It's just all this, same old shit with these guys. Which I get as well. I kind of get. They I won't say they coasted, but they kind of got away with just existing and still doing well, you know. I would say they coasted. I think they just got, like, you know, because they're one of the originate. There's one of the first big podcasts I was out there. They were also closely associated with Rogan, so by default they didn't really have to do too much, you know, and it kind of worked. But now there's a lot more competition. You kind of have to do something, you know. You kind of have to do something to keep yourself fresh, relevant, out there, all that stuff. And I don't think these guys have the minerals for it.
Yep. You know? So, yeah, great question, though, dude. We had it. That got heavy.
Yeah. I mean, he did definitely have some stuff.
But it's an elephant in the room. But Brian's had some stuff. People go through stuff. You've got to move on. Otherwise, they won already.
Is that fair, though? Is that fair? Brian's light has gone. Brian is definitely a shell of his former self. The sparkle has gone from behind his eyes, which might ultimately mean why that special, the last one with the fucking Apple shit, the Apple closer was so bad. Because he's clearly a shadow of his former self. But is that fair, though? His cancellation wasn't minor. Like I said in the Discord earlier, like, he got accused of rape, bro. He got an entire article, an entire article written up about him in Los Angeles Times. Imagine what the paper looked like. His face was probably on the fucking paper when that was printed. Of these very different women, anonymous women, with their accounts of sexual harassment and misconduct from Bryan. You know, losing out on the second Joker movie, getting dropped by all these people, Netflix cancelling your show, getting fucking, I mean, like, that's a lot. Like, I'd hate to see how Brendan would have reacted if something like that would happen to him. So yeah, it's like, it was hard. I can definitely see why it was hard, and it's not something you can get over ASAP. But I also think there's a lack of acknowledgement and acceptance on Brendan's side. Yes, maybe Bryan Callen did it to himself. He shouldn't have raped people. He wouldn't have, you know, fucked over the show. But God, Maddie, man, you also did a lot. Brendan also did a lot. Primarily the Bobby Lee and Kalala stuff, you know. That really fucked up Bryan, maybe his sense of enjoyment when it comes to comment or whatever. Because, you know, you saw quite quickly that they weren't choosing his side, you know. They were choosing fucking Bobby Lee's side. So yeah, it's all been a bit of a mad one. But I think both parties, I'd say both parties in this situation, maybe even all three, maybe I'd even say even Chin, I think everyone's partly responsible for where the show is today. But I just don't think they're willing to do what's necessary to try and get it back where it was before. And it's okay because time has moved on. But also I feel like there's a lack of understanding and empathy when it comes to Bryan Callen, because if Brendan would have got accused of what Bryan Callen would, I don't think he's making it.
If it's going to affect you every day, and now it's become this dark cloud on us too, buddy, then we got to stop doing the show.
It's not just, by the way, it's not just Bryan, though. The people on the show have been through stuff. It's not just Bryan. There's been other things that have happened here as well. So,
and we get over it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I appreciate the way you look at this stuff. We have to, we said this before on this Patreon.
Do they get over it, though? Some of the firings also didn't probably sit well with people, right? The way George got let go wasn't that nice, you know? Even the way BGO got let go and how that all played out wasn't the greatest. So again, there are things that these guys are doing in public. The way Malik was treated in the end, Shrimp in the end. I don't know. What do you expect? That's going to affect how people watch the show. They probably lost a ton of fans during COVID. They probably never acknowledge. They probably lost a ton of fans during COVID when they didn't pay attention to the rules and kept going on tour and kept talking about the virus not being a big deal and having all these like right-wing talking points about COVID and shit. You know, they've done quite a bit to drive away the fan base. It's not just purely, you know. Yeah, I don't know. All bizarre.
But we have to we tell Bryan all the time, like, let go. Like, that shit was then. Nothing crazy. Like, no one's thinking about you that way every single day. We tell.
Unfortunately, they are. And again, I think it's easier said than done. Like getting accused of rape at that age of his career, like I said before, it's like it's impressive to some extent that he's bounced back to some degree now with his comedy. But like I said, you can tell he wants to be an actor. Bryan doesn't want to do stand up. I don't think so. I think Bryan wants to be an actor. He wants to be in Hollywood. He wants to be doing Netflix shows. He wants to be doing red carpet. I mean, that's what he wants. He doesn't want to be a comedian. It probably naturally comes to him, right? Which is nice to have this in your back pocket, but he definitely prefers to be a comedic actor. Him having to sit out of all those things and knowing deep down he's never going to get re-invited is like brutal, So I think it's a lot easier said than done. But like, oh, just get over it. It's like, bruh, if you're someone that wants to be an actor and then suddenly your acting career gets completely taken away from you because of an allegation, you're going to find it really difficult to bounce back and be your jovial self, You're going to really do find it hard.
Tell him all the time. It just has to. So it's up to Bryan to change that part of the way he thinks. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Brad.
No, I do know. He's 60.
Here's the thing.
Like the people saying, "Oh, that he's 60."
No.
He's
and
60.
by the way,
Jesus Christ, that's a bit mean. But yeah, you're right. Big up Unfathomable. Exactly. Last chance to crack Hollywood. And to be, that's why, what's really sad though about Bryan, in a way, this is a sad thing. It was gonna end anyway. That's the brutal thing. It was gonna end anyway. I think at that time, what was it called? It was called The Goldbergs, right? The show that he was on, and then his spin-off was Schooled. That wasn't gonna get renewed. It was gonna get cancelled after that one season, but it happened to coincide with the rape allegations. He was probably never going to appear in Joker 2. But that coincided with the rape allegations. The Netflix show that he pitched with Crystalia, like some Netflix show about like pranks and shit, that was probably never going to make it past production. But the rape allegations came in and make it convenient, I think all those deals would have probably all fallen through. But when the rape allegations came, it kind of made it feel like, oh, this is the final blow. Because everyone's saying no. And then I think he got dropped by CAA, right? I think they were both with CAA. I think they both got dropped from CAA. I don't think they ever mentioned it. But the CAA thing's a big deal too, because CAA was the people that were probably responsible for getting Brendan on the fucking red carpet doing stuff and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? So that probably hurt their chances too in getting back in Hollywood. By not having those big power brokers behind you who can really influence things and get those open. So yeah. Mad situation all in hand. But Brendan doing this whole like 60 shit is like, ooh, this comes across a bit rude, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You're meant to be his boy. You're meant to be like, I can say that about Bryan, right? He's 60 though. But you're meant to be his guy. Like, come on.
when we talk about this stuff, yes, you had to tell me certain things, and I'm like, no. And then finally, after years and years of being here, I'm like, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Hopefully, I'm just saying, hopefully, knock on wood, this particular thing will fucking somehow like dissipate a little bit. I don't know.
Shannon, it was 5 years ago, buddy.
Yeah, but that's a huge thing he went through.
5 years?
It's
I know
a huge
people like
thing.
get over fucking their loved ones dying faster than this. 5 years?
Come on, bro. Like that also goes to show Brendan's lack of like compassion and heart. But I honestly think if he got accused of rape the way Bryan did, he's not recovering. That would crush. He's not recovering. He's not recovering. So, as much as he maybe thinks he should move past it, I think it's a lot easier said than done. It's definitely not easier said than done.
I'm just more positive, man. I don't know. But yeah.
I'm more realistic, but I'm also, okay.
Yeah,
all right, then this is what it is.
Exactly. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm good.
The accomplishments are insane.
Yeah.
I'd say that much right now.
All right, let's move on. I got about 15 more minutes.
All right.
So yeah, decent episode, but fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Interesting. Big up fucking Unique for the fucking clip. Big up Unique for the clip. Big up fucking Unique for the clip. But Jesus Christ, interesting, isn't it? Interesting. The show ain't gonna last. the show ain't gonna be here for a long time. They're definitely gonna pack it up soon. There's no way this lasts long. If Brendan's already at this, Brendan's on his last straw. Brendan's on his last straw. The moods are not good. The energy's low. He's probably not willing to sit down and change things and fix it. Bryan looks like he's not enjoying himself there, so it's probably something's gonna give. But part of me thinks that this is just all talk, because like I said, I think this show still makes them the most money, so they'd be stupid to just end it because it's not fun, it's boring. Fuck it, you're grown men, just grin and go through it. Just knuckle down, bite hard, and just continue. But yeah, because I can't see them leaving it and leaving all that money on the table unless they're gonna go do their own pods individually and hope that the fan base splits and just allows them to make a decent income off that. I don't know, but yeah, crazy situation. Oh yeah, shoot, the Golden Hour. The Golden Hour live show is coming up as well, isn't it? But even that show as well is on this last. That show, I don't say it's last leg, but that show isn't great either. So there's not a lot of great shows in the Thick Boy discography. Let's just say that.